would you like to share?
Yes. Okay. So I went back and looked up the name of the weather girl.
Oh, should we try and guess it?
I mean, it's just, this is going to be the name guessing game.
It is. So I'm going to stop guessing.
Is Jennifer.
Oh, Jennifer.
And now Jennifer with the weather. Space.
In space.
That's right.
As she just slowly suffocates. I forget the vibe there. It's just like, it's space.
It's like, I don't remember the joke. Let's figure out another joke.
Anyway, that's all. It's now in the notes. It will never be forgotten.
Jennifer with the weather.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
It's a very important to be able to call back to such an important and funny line.
I honestly... Well, it bothered me last time.
Right,
yeah. And I couldn't find it in my notes. And I'm like, this will not stand.
Oh, just like the time where I took like 5 to 10 minutes to look up that groundhog book.
Yeah, but you see, the difference is I did this off air. Nobody else had to watch me, Jeff.
Well, yeah, we could cut out the dead air of me looking up the book. I'm pretty sure we did anyway.
We did, but we still had to sit through it. You can't edit reality, Jeff.
No, you can't. That's what you get for being friends with me.
That's right. Credit every day.
No, a lot of times there's just like that one question that like really itches your brain. You're like, nope, sorry. I have to do a thing and bring everything else to a stop.
I wonder how people did that without the internet. Probably just slowly went insane.
I think they just argued, to be honest. Like, I think that's a bar tradition that is far past, where you just like, hey, this thing happened. And the other person's like, no, it didn't. And you guys just kind of go back and forth, and you guys go over to the other person and say, hey, this thing back at this time, what happened there? And then like you start to like go back and forth.
But like, what do you do if it's not you disagree, but just nobody remembers like the lyrics to that one song? Or
you make them up and say that you remembered it. And who can tell you you're wrong?
Absolutely no one.
Excellent.
And welcome back to the 7 Star of the Right podcast. This is episode 93. How you guys doing? Sick.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
93 is a good number.
93 is why is it a good number?
It feels nice.
Obviously.
Nicely divisible by 3, you know?
Yeah, 9 times 3
like a fun
3.
one. A 31. Pretty sick.
It's really easy to divide by 3 too. I like that.
It is,
When stuff starts moving around between the columns, that's when it gets hard.
Yeah. That's fair. That's very fair. Cool. Good banter. All right,
We were over the banter. We're done with that part.
I was about to, do the new tradition of asking how you are, but now I don't want to know.
You know, that's completely
Tell
fine.
your story man.
I will tell my story man, but first I will make you remember what happened last session.
No.
Yeah.
My
so
head.
You understand? How are you putting thoughts in my head? What do you guys remember from last time?
Last time started with a boat chase. There were 2 boats, a total of 5 people on them.
Mm-hmm.
We fought the boats. It took a while.
But it was a fun fight, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Please.
Captain Dusty Smokey was really bad at fleeing. He
was actually rolling really well. The other team was just rolling better.
Whatever.
That's fair. Yeah.
I would have done better. Is all.
He also had like a tugboat compared to like the speedboat.
They had the same speed. I thought. That they were both a speed of 2.
I thought the speedboat was a little
the
bit
intensity
faster.
of your gaze. Yeah. Spoken from someone who definitely for sure knows the answer.
No one looked at the boats and was like, yeah, those guys are too fast. That's what I would say.
Too fast, too furious.
Gotta dial them back a little bit. Anyway.
Also, he was on cocaine.
Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah, he did a couple of lines as he started driving. Yeah.
And then
good
we protected
old
him with our bodies.
Professor Captain Dusty Subtlety Smokey.
We also created a human shield so he wouldn't die because he was the only one who knew where we were going.
That's very true.
So we just stood there and got shot a lot.
You guys probably could have communed with him at that point. So like, hey, in case you die for whatever reason, where are we going? Anyway.
I don't know about that.
I don't know if he would tell us.
I feel like Captain Dusty Smokey just kind of goes with the flow. And if he's like, we all have an impermanent life and only
like,
so much amount of
going?
time.
No one knows where we end up.
To our inevitable grave.
I was following you.
And a little bit faster every time I do a lot of cocaine.
There's no earthly way of knowing which direction we are going. Anyway, so that happened. We got to where we were going. We met up with Micah's entire group minus, I believe, Zuri's currently out.
Zuri and Titus was another name that was mentioned.
You have not
met Titus yet.
So we talked a little bit, got a little bit of the lay of the situation, are going to hear more of that over dinner. But in the meanwhile, while people were off making us dinner, we pulled Dorian Gray aside and hemmed and hawed for a while until we basically got to the point of, hey, this you, and pointed at the comic book. And yes, in fact, Dorian Gray is, at least currently, has the powers of the Eternal, which is one of the travelers who does shape-shifting and regeneration and all of that, and is also Jordan Donahue.
Yes.
So
and maybe a lot of other people as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're now going back in our minds and figuring out every single place where neither Jordan Donahue nor Dorian Gray were present and being like, are you?
And we've never asked them if they can be a torque or anything else.
I was just assuming they could.
Probably, yeah. Disturbing implications.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys met up with Isis as well. She gave you a little bit of the lowdown, mentioned that Devas and his group are also there. Titus is a part of his group. They seem to be focusing a little bit more on the coronation. There seems to be some plans there, whereas Isis's group is focusing a little bit more on the continued observation and surveillance of the prison. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in particular that's important about Dorian Gray in the conversation. She did swear you to secrecy because, duh. And paid you as well. I think she even paid you more.
Paid and we got threatened. There was we ran the whole gambit there. It was, please don't tell anybody, we're friends, right? Also, if you tell anybody, I'll kill you. Also, here's some extra money to not tell anybody. Dorian Gray was just all over the place, honestly. It was a bit much.
They have walls that they put up.
That's right.
And they really don't like necessarily letting people into that inner garden. And you guys just kind of catapulted yourselves over that wall.
Yes. This is how all great friendships start.
They're trying to figure out how they feel about that.
Really went everywhere. Yeah, persuasion, bribery, intimidate, seduce.
One of them.
Oh, we haven't hit seduce yet.
No, you have not. And so I think we ended off last episode with Isis poking their head in this really small bedroom. Remember that the location that you guys are in is a little hovel that is carved out of the side of this cliff face. And there's kind of one main section with two sections kind of that branch off of that main meeting area that you first entered into. And one is the sleeping quarters, and the other side is the kitchen and the bathrooms and stuff like that. And so you guys went off to Dorian Gray's room and were in a real crowded little space.
Just standing in a little corner gossiping.
And I pictured it as everyone was kind of in various stages of standing up or leaning against the wall, and Dorian Gray was sitting on their cot. And then Isis poked their head in and just saw everyone just kind of surrounding the room with Dorian Gray kind of with their elbows on their knees and hands in their face, just what the hell am I going to do? And Isis just dinner's ready.
Yeah. Isis walks in and everybody's heads just snap over.
Exactly.
And I think
very clearly didn't want anyone to be a part of this anyone else to be a part of this conversation. And yeah, that's where we're taken. So she brings you guys out of the area where all of the beds and housing is, and takes you across to the other side of this little hovel where you all see there's this big steaming pot. And I had to think a lot about what was in this pot.
We did brainstorm
because I realized I didn't actually prep this. But it turns out, Orsiame doesn't have any, native form of plant life. And
Rocks.
So...
Yeah, or animals. Nothing is supposed to live there.
It was rock stew or something.
Yeah, I mean,
that story.
That's a classic for sure.
Yeah.
But
it's not rock stew.
We decided to go a little bit more highbrow here.
Yeah, it's army stew. It's army-based stew. It's a Korean dish that has a delicious number of things in it that includes ramen and spam and hot dogs, and a couple slices of American craft singles. I'm pretty sure there's other like mushrooms and scallions in there as well, but it's probably mostly dried stuff that was reconstituted by the stew itself. So, just a really hearty meal. But Micah and Claire would probably be very familiar with this type of dish. A whole lot of very imported stuff. And you guys sit down at the table. You notice that there is a little bit of a divide along this table. There is the group that Devas is a part of. So you have Isis, Kynon, Freya off to one side, kind of like on their own side of the table. And then you have Devas and Ellie, and then another man who you have yet to meet. Grizzled old man, long white beard, bronze wrinkled skin, and missing his right ear. And people start to dig in and stuff like that. The dinner progresses as normal, and Isis eventually says, all right, so I want to give you guys a little bit of the lay of the land. How up to speed are you on what's happening on Orisiame right now, politically speaking?
Right. Sorry, who's talking to us right now?
Isis.
This is Isis. Okay, yeah, I mean...
I can bring on a little bit of more of an air, but she is a tough
you
girl.
Caught us up a little bit before, right? So this whole deal with the chancellorship got moved up, obviously, and the executions too. So that's going to be in a couple of weeks still, or is it 1 week now?
About
a week and a half.
Days?
6 months.
Well, no, they're moving.
They're moving. Yeah,
They're moving him in 3 days.
Yeah,
That's
they're
what
moving
we're
him in
planning
3
to-
days.
about a week.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more than a week, probably closer to like 8 or 9 days.
Cool.
But about a week. I don't have the exact number in front of me right now.
Yeah, totally. And we've kind of managed to destabilize Chancellor's control over a lot of territory, the other continents, which is, I mean, yeah, definitely good progress for sure. But yeah, stuff's still been kind of thorny around here on Ostia, right?
And at that, Devas actually speaks up and says, yes, things have been difficult here. Something that you may or may not be aware of is Orisiame always had a extra bit of metadimensional energy flowing within it. The activity is very different compared to other planets. And those readings, and particularly seismic readings, seem to be fluctuating quite wildly, particularly around Principa. As he kind of like looks around the table, and he continues, we've been watching them for some time. We have eyes in Principa, we always have, but not enough of a force to be able to do anything. But there's been construction for quite a while in Principa, particularly around the palace, in and around and underneath, we believe. And, well, let's just say the Orchid dossier accelerated things.
Okay, hold on. You might need to help me out here. Because, I heard about the metadimensional fluctuations. I thought that was just a planet thing. Like, Orisiame is kind of funky like that. Are you saying that, like, they're building something on Principa that's making that happen? Is that what you're trying to say?
The seismic readings and the metadimensional readings fluctuate at similar times.
Oof.
So I
They-
believe it used to always be really high, and then it was changing, right?
Yeah. That's roughly right?
Yes, you can think of the overall capacity of Orisiame having quite a higher amount, able to, for whatever reason, harness more of this metadimensional energy. Whether this is because of the structure of the planet itself or its location within the universe, we are not entirely sure, but it's always had a higher capacity. When we mention these fluctuations, it goes above that maximum, but then also dips below. And this causes strange behavior in various things, particularly around psychics as well. It closes off some of our touch to the extra-dimensional space, but at the same time opens it as well. It does not seem to be a constant thing, but it is certainly a reverberation of something.
So, is the seismic activity and the metadimensional energy, are they like they're in phase as one increases, the other one does, or
Yes.
are they? Okay, got you. And do you think this has something to do with the coronation, that they're trying to get something ready?
I am worried that that is the case. Now, as much as we fight against the children of the silence, they are still strong in number and in wealth. They could have held the continents of Korstia and Strania a lot longer than they could have otherwise. But they chose to concentrate their power in Ostia, particularly around Principa. That makes us believe that they know something that we don't, and that Principa is a seat of power that they are willing to wager the rest of Orsiame on. Considering the fact that along with this change in military strategy, it also coincided with the construction of whatever they are building, leaves me concerned. They are bringing in much large machinery capable of digging many thousands of feet into the ground. They are bringing in materials used in scientific equipment.
Oh no, not science.
Not science.
Science.
We don't know what they are building, but considering what the Chancellorship has done in similar places to the Orchid, all over Orisiame, some of which we have yet to discover, it's very possible they have discovered something about this planet that we are not aware of.
Do you think this has anything to do with the increased number of observed inquisitors?
And you can see that at that question, everyone kind of shifts a little bit. And Devas speaks up and says, yes. There was a period of time where we were able to track the metascions that were created on Orisiame, created as in born. Eventually, they take on those attributes and show them through their own physical prowess. But we've identified some individuals that at no point in time have ever gone to a psychic academy or have family members who are aware that they exhibited psychic powers, being metascions and becoming inquisitors.
Specifically just metascions? Is there any signs of any other kinds?
Not among the silence operatives, as far as we can tell. The only psychics that are allowed to reach any level of rank in the military are metascions, and they are particularly shoved into the Inquisitor track.
Where are they coming from? Are there any records of missing people? Are they spirited away? Are they brought in from off-planet?
As members of our groups fight against these increasing number of Inquisitors, we are finding that they are, for the most part, Orsimian in descent. Descent? Descendants?
Origins.
Origins. Indecent.
There's like a bottle of whiskey in the soup. There's no fresh water. It's all just like...
Yeah.
And so we have identified certain individuals who grew up on Risiame with a lean towards the Children of Silence and the rhetoric that they spout, join in the Silence operatives, and find out later that they are metascions. The information is vague. Inquisitors and their training tend to be one of the most highly kept secrets of the Children of Silence. But the fact that they are growing in number, especially during this time when they seem to be, the Children of Silence seem to be at their lowest approval, is cause for alarm. We are unaware of anyone being able to create psychics, but it's possible that they have found a way.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really think of a better answer. Like, the academies, as much as they suck, frankly, are there for a reason. Like, just especially if someone's like older and just discovers psychic abilities, it can be like super dangerous if they're not trained and guided. So for these folks to suddenly be coming out of the woodwork and just like, oh, these are like totally competent, like good meta-scions, seems like there's no way that just happened. So yeah, definitely sounds like they're up to something.
Is it at all possible that they could mimic this with technology? I'm aware that sometimes there are certain pieces of technology that can block certain psychic powers. I know it's expensive, but...
Certainly, Psi-Tech is something that we are constantly striving for, as we are all aware that the civilization that came before us during the Scream was able to leverage quite impossible feats using psionic tech. This could theoretically be some lost cache of that, but all of the Inquisitors that we have been able to stop, we are unable to replicate anything on their person. It's very possible that the power armor that the Inquisitors use activate these powers in some sort of way, but it does appear to be tagged. If it were to be associated with the technology, it seems to have some form of keys, for lack of a better word, that we have yet to understand how to use. Our reasoning is it's more likely that the individuals themselves are meta-scions, but we do have some power armor stored away elsewhere that we are continuing to investigate.
If they can't replicate the tech, are they just cloning people? Has there been any record of just like if they have one meta-scion that they can just base their clones off of and put those in? I don't think it's ever been publicized if performed, but maybe that plus some weird psychic energy stuff that they have going on can, there's your army.
And we know they do like cloning people.
Yes.
We have not seen similarities between individuals who are Inquisitors, at least the ones that we have been able to stop. It's possible that they have multiple copies of clones, or perhaps that they've grafted on some stem cells from a meta-scion. I'm not sure. I wouldn't necessarily know if that was a clone as much of a chimera, but...
Chimera.
Everybody has the same flashback, and now we're all sad.
Edward?
That's the one.
Anyway, we aren't sure. At the very least, physical descriptions come in a wide array of individualities. They seem to be different people, and we can trace them to individuals that were born and raised on Orisiame. At least the ones that we have records of.
Gotcha. Great. Okay, I was going to direct this next question at Isis because Devas is putting him to sleep. So this the transport that's coming to pick up, going through the prison, is that originating from Principa, or is it what's the path that's going to be taking?
And at that question, a smile creeps across her face and says, our current knowledge of the prisoner transfer is that it's going to be happening in 3 days' time. It's going to be a plainclothes convoy, and it's going to look like a large supply barge with 2 attack boats. Really, it's just are going to look like 2 extra boats, but we expect them to have some form of hidden weaponry in order to protect the transport. We don't know what the route is. We understand that they're coming from outside of Principa, the outskirts, probably about 1.5 hour, 2-hour boat ride from the prison to Principa itself. We don't know the route that they're going to take. Principa is on a network of rivers here and there that makes it very difficult to know where they may go. But it also means a lot of these tributaries are quite small. If we know the specific route that they are going to take, we can set some form of ambush. We were actually going to talk tonight about putting together some form of party to try and find that route. And she takes out a map that was laying on another table and spreads it out in front of you. And in front of you is Principa. It's quite a large metropolis, as you can see from like the overhead. And you see that there have been some notes written on various places. And it's quite a high up shot of Principa. And then also the surrounding area. And she points to a series of small rivers that seem to be flowing in and around each other and across and through each other. Very jagged area. And says, we believe that they're going to take a route somewhere through this particular pass. And she points at another location. And you can see from the high level that this picture was taken, you can't make out any particular features other than just a gray kind of blob. But it appears that she's pointing at a caldera of some kind, a volcano or a mountain that's kind of like collapsed in on itself, and says, there's a silence outpost right here that we have reason to believe is going to be the source of the boats that are going to pick up the prisoners from prison and bring them to Principa. And so we want to send people in to see if we can find plans. We have a couple of uniforms that we can hand out and some falsified credentials. Unfortunately, and she looks over at Dorian Gray at that, we lost the liar card bringing you guys here. But we still have other forms of credentials that we can spoof at a moment's notice. The grip that the Children of Silence and Silence Operatives hold on Ostia has started to falter. We've been able to find ourselves in places that we couldn't even have dreamed of years ago. Now's the moment to strike. And she says, what would you guys say to being that team that finds that information? She looks over at Devas's group and says, Devas's group is still continuing to work the coronation. We're intending to have a bit of a, say, surprise for them to happen there. And Freya, Kaina, and myself need to work to just do the final rounds around the prison to make sure that there isn't anything that we're possibly missing, any different ways out. And we'll also need to be able to have a group of people who scout the area from the prison to some of the areas that we might want to do the ambush and lay that down. We were just going to try and hopefully catch them somewhere, or at the very least chase them and hit them somewhere en route. But if we know the route itself, and maybe even the personnel on there, we can come a lot more prepared. We didn't necessarily have the manpower to do that, but we do now. Is that something, I know you guys just got in, but would that be something you'd be willing to take on?
For sure, definitely.
We're bad at lying
We're
and being quiet.
psionic is the other
I
thing,
guess.
and they have an increased inquisitor presence. A number of people can just look at you and be like, "Oh, psionic."
I don't think.
Is that an issue?
No one's not, though.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about options, please.
Absolutely. And so this silence base, we generally try and avoid doing any form of psionic activity there. It requires a very skilled inquisitor to be able to walk up to someone and just see their latent psionic abilities. Oftentimes it requires some form of exerting their power over the metadimensional energy that flows through them. It's been described as some sort of clicking that the inquisitors are able to hear. As far as we can tell, there are no inquisitors stationed at this base, but obviously, given the situation that we find ourselves in now, I cannot guarantee that you will not run into someone.
I was just detected on the boat ride in. That's why we lost the paper, is because somebody looked at me and said, that person is a psychic.
And
I was not using my powers.
And I forgot you are pretending to be a psychic around Devas and
well,
everyone else.
actually, yeah. There's a very thin line there, but yes, we've told Dorian Gray that I am psychic. We originally told Devas that I wasn't, and then we quickly corrected that and all of that stuff. So,
and
we'll see how this little lie plays out.
Isis takes that in and says, "That is concerning. That is, are they getting stronger?" And there's a flash of concern that goes across her face. At the very least, it requires some exertion of effort in order to try and identify psychics. It's very possible that they wouldn't be looking, but yes, this is absolutely a cause for concern. We should try and find something we can do to mitigate that.
Okay. Well, it's not like we have any non-psychics really volunteering to help us out here. So I don't know, I feel like we got to do our part. Like, it's going to be really, really useful if we're able to get this information.
Ellie actually raises her hand and
I was
says,
going to say.
Nope, no psychic here. So
Get her.
Give her a weird look. Like, what are you doing?
I can help you guys out a little bit. I can also do if you remember what Ellie looks like, she has a very similar geometric pattern that you remember Fu has dotting his skin, and she kind of smiles, and as she does that, a whole new face that you don't recognize kind of washes over her.
Get her.
She's a witch.
You can't trust her.
Damn it.
And she has the cybernetic enhancement holoskin emitters, which allows her to pretend to be someone else. Obviously, it doesn't hold up to close inspection. I'm not entirely sure if it even changed. I think it might change the voice. But like, if anyone touches her, they would know immediately that there was, like, they would reach through the little bit of a skin, the hollow skin. It says, so could help you out a little bit. Might be useful to have some backup, at the very least someone watching over the shoulder. But yeah, I can help out. Davis is assuming that's okay, and Davis just kind of does like a very solemn nod at that.
I think he's falling asleep.
Creepy man.
He's found his inner peace.
Okay, no, and I do not care for it.
That's one word for
His
it.
inner beast is screaming demons and flesh beasts.
Okay, that's something.
Is there any way we could access the information without being inside of this physical location? I am pretty good with computers.
And at that, Isis looks up and says, not entirely sure. It is a military compound. There's probably a data center somewhere in there, but you would have to likely get into the compound itself to hack into the system.
Maybe a closed network, yeah. If only there was a way to just kind of jump over into a network that you should be totally enclosed out of.
I'm sorry, is this a reference to something I'm not aware of?
No, I would really like that if that was something that we were actually able to do.
You started talking about jumping in my mind
Look,
immediately.
guys, part
Sorry.
of planning, the biggest part of planning sometimes is just saying shit.
This is fair.
Okay. All right. Fine. So Ellie can come with us. We can go looking for a data center, try to bump into as few people as possible. And Nona can do her tech stuff and then get out. Easy.
That's good, yeah. Honestly, it's probably easier than trying to find like a big map that they have out, which I'm not discounting the possibility that in one of the conference rooms they just have like a big map that we can take a photo of.
And at that, there's another sheet that Isis goes to take and lays down another one.
Oh, a map.
Oh, wow.
We've done our homework. We were able to hack into some Silence Operatives satellites and get these pictures. Now, obviously, we don't necessarily know what each of these buildings are, but you can see the makeup of this particular base a little bit more. You see, again, this mountain caldera. So it's a circular base with a ring along with a raised edge. And inside of this caldera, buildings dot in like an order pattern of rows and columns. You see an area that you would expect to, it looks like a form of like barracks, very similar to one another. You see, various people hanging out outside of them. You see a large building that you assume to be some kind of mess hall. Not too far away from that, you see barracks as well as what appears to be maybe some kind, not barracks, an armory, and what appears to be maybe like some kind of brig, like a makeshift prison there. And then you see all the way in the back of this particular base is a taller building that seems to be important in some way. You see that there's like a fence around it. There's a little bit of extra defenses here and there. It says, we're not entirely sure what all of these different things are. We have vague understanding, mess hall, barracks, armory, so to speak. And they point at the guarded building at the back. We think this is the commander's quarters. We think this is where they house that important information, where they have that satellite dish that allows them to communicate to other locations. So if there's anywhere to hack into, it would probably be there.
How many eyes do they have on the rim of the caldera? Do you think we might be able to get on the roof or something of that building from up there?
One of the nice things is I don't think that they know that we know that this location is here. It's really only visible from the air. And as far as we can tell, the Children of Silence are unaware that we've hacked into some of their satellites to gain these images. We see a couple watchtowers, and you probably see about 4 or 5 watchtowers dotted around the caldera itself. But they're in such a way that they don't peek up over. It almost kind of just goes up to them. And so it's like we weren't expecting to go right in through the front door, but if we wanted to try and sneak in, it would probably be pretty easy with a small enough team, with a skilled enough team. So, thoughts?
I think the biggest thing that I'm worried about here is the fact that we either need to get completely in and out, completely unnoticed, or if we are caught, we need some way of obfuscating what we are after. Because if we go in there, get that information, and they know we've accessed that information, they just change the route. And then all of this ends up being for nothing. I also think that if we're sending a whole team in, if there's some psychics in there, we might as well have it be all psychics. Like having one additional person is great if we decide we need that. But unless Ellie is going in alone, which seems unwise, if they have that detecting thing, we're just going to get detected.
And Isis looks like she's thinking a little bit. And Kainon is actually the one to speak up and says, we're actually aware that there's a shipment of explosives that are going to that particular armory. If we want, we could try and obfuscate the fact that we're accessing that data center by blowing the armory sky high.
When Kainon says that, can Alex just kind of quickly pull the room, just kind of go over everybody's face and look at their respective reactions to that? And I'm looking for somebody who maybe is a little bit too shocked at it or too interested. Because last time we broke into a prison, it went south.
It did, yes.
They knew we were coming.
Yep. And all right, yeah, I'll go around the room. So Devas is as just completely stone-faced as ever. You're not sure this man has ever had an emotion in his life. Ellie seems excited by the idea. Freya and Isis seem to be reticent. What you're able to read is maybe Kainon has brought this up before, but has been kind of been like, maybe let's not do that.
Maybe we blow it up.
Maybe we just
Dorian Gray has a mask on.
That's right.
And then there is the man that is with Davis's group.
Have we been introduced at all yet?
No.
Okay. First of all, rude.
And he appears to be sleeping.
That one.
Okay.
That one, he's a spy.
Shoot him.
They just fucking shoot him. I pull out my sword. I'm kidding. I don't do that.
Do you think that Alex is like very like noticeably like kind of pulling the room or just kind of trying to do it subtly?
It'd probably just be like a quick go over everybody's face. It would have taken a second, but he's not like leaning forward, just like staring at everybody's face. It's just kind of like a buzz of the room.
Yeah. So I think just because that's kind of the first time that Kainan's sort of piped up in this conversation, and Mike is definitely looking back and forth between Kainan and Alex a little bit to see if there's any particular reaction there.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, Nana is very excited about this plan. I love blowing things
Also
up.
down.
And Isis turns to Kainan and says, Kainan, we talked about this. That's awfully, boisterous, like we're trying to do this on the down low as much as possible. And he just kind of shrugs and says, be a pretty good distraction. That's all I'm saying. If it takes some of them along with it, not the end of the world, I would say. As he kind of like crosses his arm and sits back down in his chair.
And I really like it, Kainan. I really like it. But if part of our edge is that they don't know we know about this place, that might kind of make more problems than it solves,
At the very
but
least,
I really like
it could be a secondary,
Yeah.
If they already know you're there, blow it up.
I was
For
just
sure.
about to say we
Totally.
could plan A could be trying to do this without being detected. And then if we are detected, we can blow some stuff up.
We've done similar operations on silence bases before, trying to destroy their munitions before they can, mount an attack against us. This is very acolytes of the end MO. It'd be a good distraction. And, make some pretty lights.
And fire.
Yep.
Isis just kind of like scratches her head, shakes it. So, that's what we've got. We're trying to find out the route, and also if you're able to find like the personnel that are going to be on this trip, we can see what we might be going up against, and heck, we might even be able to find sympathizers among them. Helk,
ooh, spicy. I said
Helk.
It's a new swear word, worse than all the others. Oh dear Lord!
It's too close to milk. I don't like it.
That's right.
milk.
Oh no! I just flashed back to the 90s with that one.
It's not the 90s. That's early 2000s.
My bad. They were all the same.
No, it's not early 2000s. That's got to be at least like the early 2010s. Anyway, where was I? Yes, Helk.
Wind it back.
I can't even remember the point that Isis was making.
We're trying to find also the names of the personnel. Is there?
We could lean on one of them or see if there are some sympathizers among them and see if we can turn them.
We could straight up replace one.
That's certainly a possibility. It would require getting in on the inside and then having whoever takes their position, look and sound a lot like them. And Ellie says, I don't know. But I appreciate, having that much, faith in me, but I'm really good at, glances, but someone trying to, talk to me for an extended period of time, I really need to do research on that for like an extended period of time. It's not something I can just kind of do. And then even then they touch me, they look at me too closely, it's over.
Right.
Same.
Anxiety starts to build within me. I start sweating and
Also,
the house emitter just goes off. And so they were talking to their boyfriend and all of a sudden it's
There's
just,
alert, sweaty,
me,
alert.
sweaty me.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. I was more considering that maybe they don't know all of each other's entire backgrounds and histories. And one of the, I guess it was an Inquisitor with body armor, had an entire face mask. So we couldn't even see what they looked like. So if we see an opportunity for something like that, that could be another interesting possibility.
Devas, you mentioned that when the fluctuation happens, it makes it a little bit more difficult to use psionic abilities. Are those things regular? Could we time this operation at all, make it just a little bit less likely that an Inquisitor could catch us at a glance?
They are fairly regular. At this point now, they weren't so much a few months back, but they are fluctuations, and it is on the span of minutes, if not seconds, where one goes from the most powerful to the least. I'm not entirely sure it would be useful in this particular setting. And also the greatest effect seems to be particularly around Princip itself. Granted, you would be not too far away.
Okay. Sick. Great. So we have this one operation. The goal is to find the route that the transport is going to take, such that we can come up with further plans. It's reconnaissance is the goal.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
I don't know who's just said that. That's exactly right. It's Devas.
Ah!
Thanks. That was weirder.
Hello.
Okay.
Stop!
He's melting, solidifying a little bit. Great. What would be, I suppose, if we went in the front door? Is it like delivery?
Bombs.
So, hi, someone ordered the sandwich.
Or is it like, are they taking in new, not recruits, or like, are they bringing people into the base? It's a
That would be
good question.
a transfer. Yeah, we could set up a fake transfer request. You guys would come with the papers, with all the credentials and stuff like that. They would call back to us, and we would say, yep, and give, the right code words. Again, they aren't aware of how, I honestly think the Chancellorship is leaving them out to dry a little bit. The amount of protections that they have really drastically reduced over the past few months.
And then how do we leave after we get what we're looking for? Is that up to us?
Could be out the front door. It could be scaling the side of the caldera and then going down to the side. Depends on how you want to do it. If we could also send in another request to send you guys back out.
That feels a little suspicious. You've transferred here. Wait, no. Lies. Could you schedule something temporary? We're supposed to be here to meet with someone. We're supposed to be here to
We could
review maintenance, review something to that extent, as opposed to we now live on the space.
Maintenance could work. We could also do something along the lines of you guys are heading towards somewhere else and need a waylay station to stay for the barracks and the mess hall. Maintenance would maybe allow you to get into places you wouldn't normally be able to. We would have to see if we could make those credentials. I'm not entirely sure we have the capacity to do that. That might require higher levels of security than we've been able to spoof.
Who are we talking to?
Jeff? This is Isis again.
Oh, okay.
Hey guys. I need to make my voices a little bit different,
It's me, Isis.
It's me,
What the-
Isis. I'm a little gruff.
God.
Like and subscribe.
Oh no. Ring a ding ding that bell.
Cool.
All right.
Great.
So how are you guys
This
feeling
one
about
was
this?
really
Is
fun.
this something you feel like you can do? Also,
Try.
considering that, the caldera is there, if you have like a skilled sniper and you want someone to just...
We don't know any snipers.
No, we've never met a sniper
We don't trust
in our
them.
life.
Fair enough. That seemed like a very quick response, but okay.
Well, not
No
on
snipers.
Not on planet.
Just to, having someone cover you during things could work.
Yeah, could be nice.
In another life.
I could do that, but I feel that my skills are probably better used in the middle of this, unfortunately.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm good with this. I think there's a lot to be gained out of it. How are you feeling?
I think
have no idea.
it makes sense for us, given the structure of the team. I do think we, as the people who will be executing the plan, need to still flesh out some of the details of it. But at the end of the day, I think we're going to do it.
All right. And Isis slaps gives Micah a good slap on the back. The old patented.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's just what we do here.
Yeah, it's just what you guys do.
Everybody just has
I learned
a
it from you,
bruise in the
Dad.
same place.
Exactly.
Just this little hand-shaped bruise.
Just a big handprint.
Yeah.
There's like a cascade around the circle. Like she hits me, I hit Kainon, smack, smack.
And dinner starts to slowly end. Dorian Gray's the first one to leave, stands up and just kind of walks out. Hard to read anything about them at this point in time. Ellie has to wake up the guy next to Devas, who was sleeping, and Devas continues to slowly, methodically eat his stew. He was definitely one of the slowest ones there, as all of Micah's crew starts to wind down as well. As this is all happening, is there anything that you guys want to do? Otherwise, I'll keep moving.
I think if it's possible to somehow get the name of the one person we don't know, either by ideally
go and
leaning
introduce
over.
yourself.
No.
Oh,
no.
you're not introducing
No,
yourself.
I want the name. I do not want to interact with anybody on Davis's crew. They freak me the F out.
Yeah.
So I would lean over to somebody like Isis or Freya or anybody who's near and be like, who's that person over there?
Who are you saying this to? You know what?
Whoever,
Actually,
who is near me?
Yeah, Micah will still be mingling with them too. So, I mean, let's say Freya.
Sure. I'm fine with that.
yeah, that's Giannu.
Okay. What
Who dat?
is-
A member of Davis's crew. He's a bioscion.
All right. He seems even more checked out than Devas. What's his deal?
And Freya moves in a little bit closer and says, Davis's group is special.
They do the torturing.
No kidding. Yeah.
He's torturing mentally.
Yeah, he's torched quite a bit. Not mentally, a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of
We all know,
constitution.
like these things, we just go down.
Yeah.
In universe, everybody is aware of the stats.
Strikes
and are
me as
like,
being less wise than he could have been.
A little
probably
nerve, a
still
little
high on
talent.
intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't talk too much. Very, very grizzled, like, you know, like that.
That was terrifying.
Yeah,
that was so scary.
That was a crazy impression, Freya.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Anyway,
It's a
Do
skill
you
I didn't
like
know
doing
you had.
impressions? Do you have any more in you?
oh, do you want me to do? See me do
Can you
Micah's?
do you have like a talk?
She contorts her face and goes,
Hello.
Oh wow!
Hey.
Wow, holy shit! Yeah,
That sounds like
That's
literally
awesome.
every
That
talk
sounds like
we've
every
ever
talk
talked
we've ever
to.
met.
hey, there's some twerks that go,
That's right. It's like I'm back on Demos.
yeah, so
That's it. I just wanted to know what their deal was.
Bioscion seems to be quite adept at, touching people and then
I bet.
they die.
Something.
Oh, yeah, that
Well.
also makes sense.
Was it called teractic overload or something like? He gives them like super cancer.
Yeah,
It's I don't.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
That's
that is a thing. Yeah,
Oh.
It's when he says it goes well, it is a sight to behold.
Cool.
Anyway,
All right.
he sleeps through a lot of these, and Ellie gets him caught up afterwards. He fluctuates between states of consciousness and unconsciousness.
As do we all.
yeah. Everybody in this room has that.
More than normal.
more aggressively.
Definitely everyone here does that.
Am I right, everyone?
Don't you just
Don't you
love
hate?
How do you do, fellow
unconscious for 8
humans?
hours every day?
Like,
It's
what is that
private.
all about?
What's the deal?
What's
seems
the
so
deal with
inefficient.
sleeping? I close my eyes at night and I wake up in the morning. What?
I know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. I know what's happening.
Okay, let's progress this plot along so we can all go die. Thank you.
And in fact, when Ellie wakes up this man, you hear her say, Gianna, get up. And is he kind of like, he was resting his head on his arm and she kind of like hits the arm out from under him and he kind of jolts forward a little bit. Not enough to smack
Face
his head
plant,
against
but,
the
yeah.
table, but enough to change his orientation. That he goes, what? Oh, And he just gets up and starts to walk out along with Ellie, while Devas slowly, with chopsticks, goes to his mouth, very periodically, very mechanically.
Like one mushroom at a time.
Yeah.
One noodle at a time.
Yes, he has taken quite a long time. And if you guys remember from his description, he is a skinny boy.
That's right.
Yeah. He wears these really large baggy clothes that appear to attempt to hide like his very thin frame. And if you guys remember, he's got a plus symbol on one hand and then a minus symbol on the other. Very, very cool, very neat. And so everyone else starts to kind of shuffle out. And you hear Devas actually mention, Micah, will you sit and talk with me for a little bit? Your friends can join as well.
I'm so lonely.
Sucks
Hi.
for you. Oh, damn.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Of course, Devas. I'd love to. Hey, you guys. Devas would love to talk. I'm roping you into this shit, too.
Yeah, of course. Claire,
Run.
you okay? You're not too tired?
No, yeah, I'm okay. I can stay up. I had a big glass of Coke, and I'm
Oh, no.
going to sleep for a whole nother
She got
Dusty
it.
Smoky.
Dusty Smoky.
No, I Coca-Cola. I'm
Okay.
sorry, not a line of Coke.
A whole glass of powdered
a
sugar.
whole-
Where Alex is sitting here kicking her in the shin going, aren't you tired? She's like, no, but my shin hurts. Okay, great. Let's have this conversation.
Great. Okay,
While watching this man eat noodles.
no problem.
And he sets down his chopsticks and says, do you remember the phone call that we had while you were on Jade?
Yeah. Sort of.
I'm pulling this one on you because that happened I want to say 2 years ago at this point.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean,
Let me take my
so-
call
I think
history.
I actually got it.
Well, no,
but-
so me, I remember it happening, not a lot of details. I don't think Micah would remember too many details either. A lot has happened since then.
Fair enough.
Kristen, do you want to remind us of what
Yeah, so
happened?
my understanding is that we were trying to find out more about the shibboleth.
Mhm.
So we looked on the internet. It said, hey, these are like a lot of the things that the acolytes of the end worship. And Micah called up Devas, was like, hey, what's up with these things? I believe Devas said they were called the Watchers or something along those lines. It was they observe places, but we got the vibe that maybe he wasn't telling the whole truth. And then Micah was like, oh, are you sure they don't have anything to do with the Chancellorship's bioengineering experience or whatever? And Devas was like, excuse me, are you calling my religion connected to this thing? And kind of got mad, and it was a little bit scary.
Mhm.
And then we said, no, I love you, bye. And that was the end of it.
You know, now that you mention it, Nona, that kind of rings a bell.
How much of that did I get? Because I haven't actually. I re-listened to it last year.
That's
but-
about the long and short of it. I think there was a little bit where Micah pressed him and he was like, huh, give
Yeah.
me a second. And
Please hold.
he then hung up and you guys were like, huh, that was weird. And you haven't talked to him since.
That's right.
So that was the last conversation.
Yeah,
You can say how much Micah may have remembered of that or not.
Yeah. I feel like we were chasing down the shibboleth stuff, and
Oh, you can't say that word.
I'm
No, you said that word.
I'm describing out of character still.
Yes. Okay. Yeah,
Describing
That's
where
still-
things stand out of character. Still, we were chasing down that stuff at that time, and then Devas was being kind of a weird creep.
Like he always is.
Like he always is. I feel like Micah would have sort of written that off. It'll come back as this conversation is happening, but it's okay, that was one lead we were chasing down for this whole thing. And then we sort of solved the mystery. And so she's kind of forgotten about Davis's individual part in this as of this moment.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So what are you saying to him right
Shibboleth,
now?
shibboleth.
Brain blast.
And then we run away.
It's the equivalent of a smoke grenade that you throw.
Except
Just
it won't work on
Because
him.
he's torched, for sure.
torched.
It for sure won't work. Yeah. Totally. We were talking about, well, I'm so curious. Why do you ask?
You remember asking about the entities that the acolytes of the end
Yeah.
worship, so to speak.
So to speak, do you worship
Yeah,
them?
I mean, that That's kind of
You were curious about the religion.
the
They were
vibe I got
curious
with
about
your religion for sure. I was very curious. Yeah, I'm sorry if I offended you. I got a feeling we may be left on the wrong foot there.
Absolutely no worries. It is certainly
It's chill, fam.
a different it's a different perspective than many people are used to taking in. I'm curious. And he just kind of straightens up and says, Shibboleth.
Ow.
I'm going to need you all to
Oh, my
make
head.
a charisma. I'm just going to say like a charisma
Stealth?
Charisma stealth check for me, please.
I believe
that's fun.
he actually knows I can hear the word. I believe that's how it came up originally, is I said it. So
Yeah,
I'm
and that
going
turns his
to
head.
not attempt to lie here
Fair
because he should already know that I can hear it and say it. And also, I'm really bad at lying.
Oh, wait. It's not a D20 for Claire. Come on now, Jeff. You've played this game before.
Charisma sneak. Okay.
Yeah, it's a fun one, isn't it?
There's also
Anything that's not a
there's a
wisdom notice.
perform, but they're both bad for me anyway.
Yeah.
6.
Oh, yeah, I guess perform would make sense too. Yeah, either 7 or 6.
Okay. So Claire, I guess Nona doesn't act.
I
as all.
don't.
Claire pretends to flinch,
Ouch.
and I think everyone else pretends to flinch as well. But he looks around and says, So I gather you all have torched or done something similar in order to hear that name. Have you met one of the beans?
The beans?
The beans, the floating beans?
The bean.
That is,
beans.
in fact,
We
what
haven't
it
met
looks
that one
like.
There's
yet.
garbanzo.
You
The one
guys
you
were
call
not
Vaughn.
going to be able to make it.
There's kidney.
So you know
There's
Chris,
two of them.
right?
Okay, great.
Yeah,
I think we brought that up. We didn't know what they were, but
We heard of them when we last called.
I don't think you
we
actually were able to even
encountered one.
describe them to him at that point.
even like in abstract. Okay.
No,
We're calling
because
them-
it was even hard to grasp onto the idea that you had run into
We were
those
calling them
things.
the not bears
Yeah.
The not bears.
because they weren't bears.
They were not.
Okay. Fine. Yes. We have run into some of them. So I guess I can ask again. You seem to know about these things. They've definitely attacked us. So you know. Would you be willing to share anything else that you might know about them?
Can you guys make a charisma notice check for me, please?
Oh,
He's gonna kill us on behalf of his gods. Hey, yeah, that thing you worship, they attacked us. Anywho, bye.
He reaches for his gun.
Like, seriously, wouldn't you just? Oh, okay. I'm feeling okay about this one.
All right, what'd everyone get?
This is charisma notice.
Yeah.
That's right.
+1. I got a 13.
All right.
Nice. I got an 8.
15.
Nice.
Okay. Everyone is actually able to see this.
Even me.
He rolled poorly. He is disturbed by that information. And he says,
Terrifying.
You seem
We kill him.
distraught.
You seem disturbed by that information.
Can you describe the beings that you came in contact with? Was there one of skin like granite, wings, and
Yeah.
a large multicolored eye?
So Davis, I don't want to like upset you with details unless that's what you're asking for. But yes, we've run into one that looked like that. Yeah.
You are not going to upset me.
You know, actually I buy that.
Oh, yeah, but will you kill us?
Just
Different question.
Trying to murder us.
I have seen them. I have talked to them.
That's a yes.
To the
Yeah.
angel one in particular.
Hmm.
He visits me. Not in physical form. I've only seen him in physical form once. But in my dreams, I see him. and he gives me information. Information that has allowed me to get to the place where I am. They attacked you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate.
More than a couple
Pretty
times,
silent,
yeah.
What were you doing to them?
We weren't trying to do anything to them.
We were vibing in a warehouse.
Ran. That's right. I don't actually know if it was a warehouse.
The first time.
I thought
that
the
we
first time it
encountered
was
them.
a building. We were on a second floor. Dorian Gray was out the
Yeah, we were
window.
just meeting with Dorian Gray, and
The
we
very
got
first
chased
time?
down the fire escape.
Yeah, and then we got chased down the phone. We weren't actually.
Well, there was that thing, and then and then we
weren't
did, and then there was a
actually in the
follow-up. No, you're right.
warehouse.
That was
we
the
saw
second
the
time.
fallout from the warehouse, and then we went to the warehouse and we decided to attack them. Let's not say that part out loud.
What is being said out loud?
No,
to
no,
this
no, no.
man?
I'm just sorry. That was an out of character reminding everybody
Yeah.
where we had been. I think Micah is driving this conversation.
Yeah. Before I answer that question, I wonder if you would answer one of mine, which is, what are these entities telling you?
They give me information about the movements of silence operatives, about the current states in Principa. They have given me openings that only months of planning and coordination would have given me. They have given me the opportunity to stay ahead of silence operative movements more times than not. They warn me and they guide me.
Is that how you found out about this base?
And you see Devas kind of like side eye at that and says, yes.
Okay.
We obtained the means to take the pictures, but we knew where to point them because they directed me.
Yeah. Okay. I'm racking my brain for context right now. This is out of character for like what was the nature of our conflict with them. Okay, I'll just say to Devas, it feels like mostly we happened upon them from what I can remember. And at least the first time we just bumped into one of them, not the rock angel. And it's just being noticed. It went after us. After that, it felt like there was a bit of an agenda where it seemed like the rock angel sought us out when we were not even on Orsiame, and not in a good way, also in dreams. So it hasn't felt to us like they're super benevolent.
And Devas thinks about this and says, I can't remember, actually, unfortunately, within my notes. You guys were asking particularly because, if you remember, was the floating flesh
Zarvzixir.
beast,
Zarvzixir.
that dropped in on the meeting between Dorian Gray and
The two generals.
That's Vaughn McRaven and Hunter Kane.
Yes.
Right, which we weren't there for, but we know that he was there.
Yeah. And so that is why Vaughn is in jail right now. He's being framed for the assassination attempt of Hunter Kane.
That's right.
And that is also when Dorian Gray got bifurcated
That's right.
in twain. And so then Zarvzixir was trying to track down Dorian Gray. You guys ran away. You actually hurt it enough that it fled.
I attacked Claire first. We were running, and then
I mean, it was just attacking everything and everyone. It was
yes,
just
but
spinning
you
blades.
understand. It
Oh.
attacked Claire. It had to die.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. Thank you for that reminder. We'll definitely bring that up. Like, yeah, as far as we know, and I think we know pretty well, one of the other ones, which was called Zarvzixir, I'll name drop it, is like the reason why Vaughn got like captured and framed for murder.
And again, Devas is taken aback and says, Zarvzixir the sword, Brith Kroll the shield, and Simmerfim the wielder.
No thanks.
Brith Kroll is a hulking beast, one very large jaw in the middle of its chest. Zarvzixir,
Not a bear, though.
We shot him.
Not a bear.
Yeah, he got
floating mass of skin and flesh. twisting about within itself.
Definitely shot, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is concerning.
So,
They have given me much in information that I would not be where I am without them.
They might. I'm like definitely worried they could be feeding you this stuff from like the Chancellor or something to set up a fall. Now I'm like definitely more freaked out about this outpost plan or this prison plan if we learned about it from them, like in this moment. I don't feel good about that at all.
They have given me enough information to take many different bases, to perform many different things. It seems unwise to have it all that cost on this particular plan to capture what? One sect out of the entirety of the acolytes of the end?
oh, we're a pretty big deal. But
That's
Oh,
something
No, I mean, I was thinking that it's not about Vaughn, maybe. It's like, maybe this is like putting on a tinfoil hat here, but not too much, not beyond what's reasonable. I think like a way to take down all of us. I don't know. If this feel weird to you? It's like all these little pieces, but then like Vaughn gets captured because of something these guys did. And then we're going on this dangerous mission because like all while the chancellorship is changing, it's like this, like too much happening all at once.
I have more information also. The first time we spoke to the angelic being, they told us that we were free to stop the civil war or not. Their goal had already been achieved on this planet.
Yeah, that was weird too, because they said like you can't stop us anymore.
The dominoes are already falling.
But then they reached out to us again later because they wanted to know what Claire knew.
And Davis looks at that.
Yes.
Okay, was I not supposed to say that?
You were not!
Get him.
Kill him. He's a spy.
I'm sorry. This is...
Oh, shit. I mean, I didn't say that.
I appreciate all of the work that you all have done. I really do. There is worth in all of the actions that you have taken on Orisiame, but perhaps you misunderstood what they were attempting to do. Perhaps this was all a grave misunderstanding. And he gets up, his dinner not finished, and says, I think, unless there's more for us to discuss, I would like to take some time to meditate.
If they told you to kill us, would you?
He waits a little too long to answer.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I do not take their orders. I merely take their information. I am my own man. And I understand that these are beings of a plane of existence that is far beyond our understanding. And he kind of leaves the conversation at that. I know he didn't really answer the question.
I'm also terrible at this, but I would like to check for signs of deception.
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah, I think we're all a little bit suspicious of his angle. So I'd like to do
probably
that too.
be like another charisma notice check.
Go.
Oh my god, this die's been rolling a lot of sixes today.
Oh, terrible. I got a 5.
9.
Nice.
Micah, he's not lying in that he doesn't take orders from them, but he does seem to hold them in a high regard. And that's what you get.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm feeling less and less good about having them around. It was
But they're so cheery.
already started off not great.
And you guys are left in the kitchen, just the four of you.
Go.
So is there anything further that you guys want to do? Obviously, Ellie has offered to go along with you guys. This operation would likely take place tomorrow. Is there anything you'd like to do tonight? Discuss more about the plan that you want to do, sleep on it, or what?
I mean, I don't want to take Ellie. I want to take Dorian Gray. Dorian
Do you
Gray's
wanna-
just better.
Do you want to talk to Dorian Gray and see if they want to come along?
Always, obviously, we're going to be best friends, but that's actually a serious thing to address with the group first, I think.
Yeah, no, totally. Did they not follow us out into the campfire dinner situation?
They did.
Or they were just there but didn't
They
voice
pieced
anything?
out. Really
they had dinner. They ate pretty quickly and then they left.
somehow
Right.
still wearing a mask.
They pulled back the mask, like kind of just so
You
like
just go right here.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a second
Like,
mask
scooted up
under
from the
the
bottom.
mask.
Don't look at me.
yeah, it only went up to like their nose or something like that. So only their face.
This is my
the
dinner
lower
eating
half of their
mask.
face.
It got a
was
little
seen.
hinge.
Smacks them in the face every time they walk.
That's right.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can I get a straw? It's just so much easier.
But
It's
yeah,
just like last Halloween.
they left.
Exactly. I was just thinking that.
They left pretty immediately after dinner.
Okay, yeah, that is a very good idea, Nona.
No, thank you. I mean,
if they're
it's
willing
a
to
little
help.
bit, there's a little bit of we will have to dodge around the knowledge of their powers with the rest of
No, yeah, but I mean,
the
if we're being honest, even like not counting all of that stuff and like, they can do what they do, like probably the best one out of all of us at like deception, infiltration type of biz.
yeah.
So like if
By a
they're
lot.
up for it, that would help a lot.
Not to have another meeting, but do we want to like just grab our group, go outside for a little bit, and have a meeting?
always and forever.
Yeah.
This is just an excuse for you to smoke, isn't it?
I was planning on smoking, yes, but only if there's cover, because it's not good to light a fire when you're actively hiding from people.
Yeah.
Okay, but only one.
What the fuck?
They're not good for you.
I know. I only have one every couple of days, and also it's the future. They used to be really bad.
Also, I'm pretty sure Alex could just heal himself.
Yeah,
I
I'm
can
pretty
also
sure you can just heal
himself.
cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a time.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you guys
Just the four of us then?
We can grab Dorian Gray if we want.
That's my open question. Do we want to pull Dorian Gray in on this or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see
Great.
if they want to take a little walk.
What if I just went in there and was like, Jordan? I'm kidding.
They would maybe kill you. I believe was the threat on
God,
the
it'd be
table.
so funny though.
What a way to go.
Or die bleeding out on the floor. Worth it.
All right.
okay. So who is going to obtain Dorian
We're
Gray?
all going.
So once more, you go as a group.
awkwardly.
We're
And,
back
like,
in your
like,
bedroom.
hey,
I'm just thinking like you're poking your head in
Yeah, like all
along the
four.
The Scooby-Doo.
vertically.
Yeah, it's in the exact opposite order you think it would be. Alex is on the bottom, Claire somehow on the top.
Oh, Micah's all the way at the top, like on Claire's shoulders or something.
Upside down.
Yeah, actually hanging
From
in
the top of the
Oh,
door
right, from the
frame,
ceiling.
yeah.
Yes, because we can do that.
Oh, perfect. I love it.
Hoo-hoo.
And they were once again whittling because that is
Sure.
a character trait that I have given them.
That's their idle
How's that
animation.
snag
That
coming
is their idle
along,
animation.
Jeff.
It's got to be expensive to get this wood brought in.
And they look up at you and they say,
I know they can afford it.
all right, what's up, guys?
Super Robot Monkey Team, happy before school.
We were going to go outside and discuss a plan of action for tomorrow and was wondering if you would be at the very least willing to advise, as you are much better at deception than most of our group.
Sure, I'm not doing anything else. As they get up and put the whittling stick and knife down, it says, lead the way.
All right, we go outside. We find a spot.
Yeah. And as you guys leave, you notice that Captain Dusty Smoky has unfortunately left.
Yes.
And his
no.
boat is no longer there at the
Damn.
dock. And
Score some coke
it's
off
just a
there.
couple of other smaller boats for transporting a few people at a time. And you guys hang out on these rickety docks.
All right.
There are no lights out, and so as the sun starts to set, it gets a little dark.
Okay. So, first things first. Last time we did the prison break, it went south. And we have reason to believe that this reconnaissance mission, will be in a similar vein. Think that they're expecting us. Yeah, more solidly than my usual paranoia would make me believe that this was going to go south anyway. So that's the first thing.
I think with infiltration, you always need to assume that the plan that you're going to have is going to, go south as soon as you go. And so it's more just putting together the plans that you might need to fall back onto.
Yeah. This is a little bit more than assumption, I think. If there's like a scale from like hunch to like provable with evidence and stuff, we're like just below the provable, I think.
It's like a 9.
What
We're past hunch.
What do you know about Devas's particular branch of the acolytes of the end? Has he talked to you much?
No. He's let's just say a devout follower of the acolytes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know what they worship?
And she kind of shifts at that and says, no, could you care to enlighten me?
You remember the thing that attacked us the first time we met?
And at that, she kind of grabs a knife from her belt and smacks it into the wall. And
There's a wall?
Yeah, I mean, they're leaning up. You guys are, there's a dock. So the dock is up against, if you want. Like,
okay, got it.
She's always got to lean against something.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Sorry. Reframing in my mind. Go back. Boathouse. Got it.
The knife sinks into the wall more than you would expect a knife to. And she says, as clearly the knuckles on her hand grow bleached white. And she says, yeah, I remember that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, that was fucked up, wasn't it?
That was fucked up.
So that?
He just wanted to talk with us just now. And sounds like, that one and the other ones, because there are some other ones. I can't remember if you've bumped into those. That's like their religion. And they talk to him in his dreams.
I should have paid more attention to them. The acolytes, not the shibboleth.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Sorry. So
we're all in a very sort of similar boat here because I'm pretty sure they want you dead and they want us dead. And
yeah, that's problematic. So, and as she kind of like looks towards the door, they know things about me, things that I don't even know about myself, or at least think they know things about me that I think might be about me.
Can you use more proper nouns?
No. They said something about having the spirit of the ancients or something. I don't frickin' know.
Yeah.
You?
Yes.
Okay.
They let's just say when that thing, cut me in half, I've dealt with that before, gotten exploded before, very similar experience.
Yeah.
My powers were wavering.
Hmm.
I could feel myself dying, which, being me,
Not used to that
sensation. And I really would like to avoid it if possible.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, don't want to deal with those things. Devas communes with them.
I guess this whole plan with like finding out where this outpost is came to him from them apparently. And then they like followed up, took pictures, blah, 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 but they led him to it.
I think they're playing both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Devas is their pawn on this side.
Don't you remember that's exactly what, Devas, they are playing both sides.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was trying to communicate.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
To Vaughn and Hunter Kane, when I got bifurcated,
Right.
It's been a bit. I'm forgetting who knows what. I'm just trying to make sure you have all of the information because again, we are in very similar situations. Maybe.
No, yeah. I have that information.
Okay,
I was
perfect.
trying to divulge that information.
then
But
to
now
them.
we know how they're
he's
doing it.
the pawn
Yeah.
on this side. There might be multiple, but he is one of them.
And you see, they get antsy
Yeah.
a little bit and say, cool. Yeah. Right. And they just, that's it. They just like kind of stare off into the middle distance.
So yeah, you can understand why we might want kind of as many edges going into this plan tomorrow as we could get.
That's not code for killing devils.
No,
It could be.
Don't put words in my mouth.
no, that's not what I was thinking. That I was certainly
Okay,
thinking
good.
of something else.
You want to leave again.
Yeah. It's not too often you see something. Well, I see something that can do that kind of stuff to me. And, you know, there have definitely been times in my past that my powers were not something I particularly cared for, but I'm not ready to meet my maker, so to speak, just yet. And so, you know, Superman, you generally want to get away from the kryptonite, you know, like the one thing
What?
that can
What?
stop you. Do you guys not
That might
read
be a-
comic books?
I've read exactly one comic.
No,
book
you
series.
fucking nerd.
Not all of us
You guys
know
are
like
Philistines.
pre-scream shit.
Come back to my place at Jade, and I have a whole like library full of them downstairs.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah. Do you show people your comic book library all the time?
Yeah, and they love it.
I'm sure they say that.
Oh my God.
I'm
Please
kidding.
no.
I'm kidding. You're fun. We have fun.
I'm reframing why you were acting so weird when we pulled out the comic book with your backstory.
And you were like, oh, sick. Traveler's number one.
Oh no, it me. Have you read that, by the way?
Not yet.
Okay.
Have had dinner, and was gonna start to go through that.
enough.
Why? What's up?
Just wondering.
Okay, I guess I'll read it tonight then.
But this goes without saying, everybody is anticipating big bad things to happen with regards to this coronation already. We know better than most that something big and bad is probably going to happen, and we are looking for our opportunity to stop it. We have not seen it yet, but I suspect that it is going to be important that you are here. And I think if we all stick together on this, we have a better chance of all making it out alive. So I completely understand why you would want to leave. Believe me, I understand that motivation very strongly, but I think that would be a tactical error.
I'm not as flighty as you might think.
This is fair.
This has been my home for, I don't even know how long, at least 600 years. There's a lot of real shitty things that have been happening to it. You know, this is the first time that I've thought about actually doing something about it. Rather than being, you know, maybe a part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using some of the shipping stuff to move acolytes, you know, around Ostia. So, you know, doing a little bit of good, I suppose, if this is good. Insurrection is kind of hard to, you know, feel good about sometimes.
Yeah, really, I haven't figured out where to place that one on the morality scale either.
But yeah, I'm happy to join. But that Ellie kid, she's going to be around too, isn't she?
I don't know if I want to bring her.
Yeah. I mean, especially with that conversation with Devas, but also it's like it sounded like a good idea when we first were floating it, but then the more we talked about it, it doesn't really make too much sense because, like, oh, she's not a psychic, but like you said, no, it's like if we get made, then we're going to get made. It doesn't matter if there's one person.
Yes,
Well,
exactly.
I was kind of wondering if, like, you know, if there's a time to scan for psychic energy, it's probably as we're kind of rolling up. So if Ellie was like the driver and we're in the back as like the maintenance people or whatever, like maybe she gets scanned, passes clean, and then like, you know, they have a limited number of scans. So once we're in, we're kind of in there. But that kind of goes out the window if we have a psychic driver. So
That's fair.
but that's just, you know, a hunch.
I mean, we can see if Captain Dusty Smokey's willing to help us out.
He's
Seems
gone.
like he's long gone.
He's gone. He could not stand still.
I'm pretty sure I've got his number right here. We could just call him.
You think he's up?
I mean, with how many lines of cocaine that man takes a day, I don't think he ever sleeps.
Yes, he's only been
will
out on the water for
call
like an hour and a
out
half.
He and I were both seen publicly breaking a barricade very recently, or checkpoint, whatever we want to call that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have disguises though, right? It's like my face is known.
Yeah.
I was figuring we were going to do something more than just clothes to go in there, like
Give everyone a
some makeup or whatever.
a fake
cap
nose and a
pulled down low.
mustache.
Well, again, deception. We're not particularly good at it.
I mean, I got a makeup kit, but I don't normally need to use it. So
Yeah,
I'm not
I kind
super
of
proficient in it.
Hmm.
I could just kind of, and like you see the cheekbones start to just raise as it like crinkles and cracks underneath. Like,
Can you just like give yourself winged eyeliner?
and she like concentrates a little bit, and the eyelashes just kind of like.
That's not what that is.
That's not that.
That's something else.
Fair enough.
We'll
No,
show
it's
you a
mascara.
magazine
I guess that's a no.
We'll show you a magazine later. They're like comic books, but worse.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't ask me things. I don't know fashion.
Okay. Well, I mean that's pretty good to know. Yeah, I mean we could. That was pretty much it. It just kind of felt pertinent to you. We're gonna figure out what to do with this mission.
All right.
I feel like, I don't know, maybe if you go through the comic books, it might jog something, or like tip you off about something that we missed when we read through it. So maybe that will be helpful.
Unfortunately, I don't have all my journals on me, and I've only digitized some of them. So I could take a look and see if I can cross-reference anything, between the two. But memory.
Don't know if that would work. Because you said the earliest memory you have a recording of is post-Scream, and all of the comic books are pre-Scream.
It's possible I've seen things about these beings
sure.
around before. And
You've
wrote
done this
something down.
research before.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
Stepping back. They have.
Yeah.
You guys read information about them in particular, I think, from their journals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess I got a long night ahead of me. She kind of gives like a thumbs up and says, cool. And then gives some finger guns as she backs away.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Funny how many characters acted like that. You know, it's just, is this an or like
It's the easiest
just
way to
like-
get out of here.
That's just how we say it. It's not like awkward or weird at all. It's just a normal thing.
It's just how people say bye.
I hate this future.
So before we finger gun our way into bed, there's one more thing. Nona, I'd like to talk about Tara.
Oh,
I think she might be useful here.
oh.
You know what? I think that's a good conversation because this is a double session. We're going to do it right again anyway.
Hell
But
yeah.
you guys all have to wait until next time.
Next time.
We all
Because
finger gun away.
We are absolutely
Pew, 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 pew,
at
pew.
time. So everyone finger gun away.
That's going to be my favorite outro now.
Help, I'm fading out into the outro.
The finger gun.